See, how diverse is this game? Because everyone I've seen only uses fire. It's because fire is one of the only viable builds right now. If you go melee, you're likely to just get ganked. Unfortunately, fire is not particularly viable when it's raining, and it is raining right now. See, there are earth spells, but the last time I used earth spells, I effectively ran out of mana and was just completely useless. No, snake! Let's see. Takes less steps to simply ignore than it does to block someone the instant they join you. The problem is, oftentimes if I don't answer somebody, they ask again. So, I've specifically had people get mad at me because I'm not following their directions in a game. And I get it. Like, they want to be acknowledged, but it's one of those where if somebody's going to ask me a dumb question, chances are they're going to ask me another dumb question. If somebody makes a demand of me, chances are they're going to make another demand of me. If somebody is going to get upset at me because I did something in a game, chances are they're always going to get upset at me for various things. It does happen where there are plenty of people that aren't nearly as divisive. But, from my perspective, it's very, very difficult to actually keep a clean channel on both sides. And so, in Kamiya's case, for example, dude has a couple 100,000 subscribers, maybe? Let's see. We gotta fight this guy in here, which sucks a little bit. I might be in trouble against vampires. We'll see. They're worth a lot of EXP, though. No, they're not. Balls. They're not as tough, though, which is good. Hell yeah, fire. But yeah, they're only worth 16 EXP. That sucks for me. But yeah, so in Kamiya's case, he really probably does get hundreds of comments per day, per week, per whatever. And so by blocking people, he really can keep his Twitter feed... I believe he called his Twitter feed immaculate by blocking a bunch of people. And I know people could disagree with that, but, like, truly imagine if you had 100,000 people a day that... maybe not 100,000, but imagine if you received 1,000 questions from just random people per day, and they all expected an answer. Like, after a while, you start to lose it a little bit if you're answering the same questions. Like, hey, are we ever going to get an Okami 2? Are we ever going to get an Okami 2? Are we ever going to get an Okami 2? Like, I get it bad enough just with, like, a small community. I can't imagine being a worldwide renowned developer that is, you know, supposed to have some level of a public face. Not a whole lot of treasure in here. But are we getting an Okami 2? I hope we do. I hope it's part of the Platinum 4 that's being kind of announced, but I'm not going to bug the guy about it. Yeah, hey Wander, when are we going to get an Okami 2? As soon as Kamiya's block list reaches 100,000 people. So it'd be better to just... put a mute notification on public Twitter and set up a private account. Check on the public account every so often. That is... But, like... You're just giving, effectively, like, weird stopgap solutions to a weird problem that he's already kind of solved. By blocking people, he effectively prevents it from happening again. And again and again. I mean, realistically, it's going to be endless. But he is taking steps that he thinks... are valid to correct a problem that he has with an online service that he is more or less required to use. And I don't actually think what he's doing is bad. I think what he's doing is very valid, and if you do get blocked by him, either you paid for it, or you deserved it. And he really does lay out exactly, like, how to avoid being banned. But just hearing about all this stuff kind of struck a chord for me, because, I mean, I'm sure you guys have heard me complain about this sort of thing in the past. But, like, it is very difficult to herd internet users and get them to do what you want them to do. that these guys are actually, I think, going to be easier than the bandits, humorously enough. I'm super fine with that. Let's see, do we laser blast him? I'm gonna laser blast there. That should hit the other guy. It did not. So I wonder if Sakurai had the same issues with Smash. Oh, I'm sure most public-facing figures in game development and game design absolutely have similar problems. That, you know, to be a public figure, especially in like the gaming industry or any kind of nerd culture thing, you're expected to be a public-facing. What the shit are you? Die immediately. Wargirl the Mad. All right. Oh, good, and I'm thirsty. How injured is he? He's pretty injured. Okay, we can do this. Okay, I'm bleeding bad. I am hella cursed. I picked up a rag, though. Okay. Should not have moved into melee with the guy. I should have run away. I was like, I'll be fine. He's pretty injured. That didn't work. Okay. That was scary. We managed to make it work, though. But yeah, that was a closer call than I wanted it to be. But I think that was the boss. Let's see. But yeah, I like the vampires because they tend to stay kind of far away from me. They also tend to burn real easy, which is good. I almost wish there was, like, scouting spells in this game. That would certainly solve some of my issues. Bust those up. I'm glad my lockpicks aren't consumed every single time I just use them. Because you don't have to worry about monster zoos in this game. I have dealt with monster zoos. They're not very big, but you do actually have to deal with them. Very specifically, one of my first deaths to this game was opening a door, and there were like 3 dudes in there. And they, of course, surrounded and murdered me horribly, because that's how this game works. Luckily, monster zoos of that variety tend to be kind of rare. Does this actually get progressively more broken the more I hit it? That's incredible. I'm gonna stop, though, because it's not worth it. I'm only gonna bust my staff up that way. I'm not actually sure if I'm gonna bust my staff up that way. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Oh. Let's see. Oh, right, drink. I was really hoping we'd learn some more fire spells here, but it's fine. Do I wanna go back the way I came, or try another way? No. We want to go back via the road, because we know where the enemies are going to be, at the very least. I'm not liking the game so far. Good, rough. I've yeah. Speaking of repetitive questions, I'm going to be fielding that for the next week, but that's okay. Oh, there's a forest viper following me around. Hello, snake. Solid snake. Boom. That snake. Oh, deer is spotted. I read that as deer is depressed, and I'm like, yeah, sure. Okay. Time to find out if this works. Ah, they do follow me. Okay. Sometimes they don't. I was really hoping this would be one of those situations where they don't. Ow! Well, time to just hang out here and rest, because I got clobbered. You set up a fact page. If people read it, if people would actually read a fact page, absolutely. But no one will ever read a fact page. I will straight up have, like, commands that answer people's questions, and people will just ignore it. So it's like, I don't know. Defeatism, I guess, is the real answer. Defeatism and just anger. How many of you guys read a EULA? When was the last time you read a fact page for a new website that you've joined? I mean, hell, how many of you guys have even scrolled down and read my rules? Because I believe one of them, a couple of them are fairly specific. But ultimately, I don't know. It was kind of neat watching the video and being like, man, this guy's got it figured out. Wish I could do it like that, but it doesn't work that way. Let's see, wonder if you heard about Hytale. Of course. Asking if I've heard about a game that everybody's heard about. Honestly, asking if I've heard about a game that was, specifically, I think, showed off... Was it shown off at E3? It was either E3 or around E3, but, like... I can't imagine most people haven't heard of Hytale at this point. Hey, there we go. Any other contracts? Want to do Lost Relic? Yeah, let's do Lost Relic. If they end up being too hard for me, whatever, I just reload and just don't do it. Yeah, I straight up have a note backseating tag on Twitch and nobody ever listens to that. I should get away from this topic, though. It is eternal and bad. It just keeps coming up. Just like pretty much everything else. Okay, so what does this guy buy? He'll buy the horseshoes. Will he buy the coal? Yeah, he will. Oh, is he out of money? That's fine. Because I could use another big ol' hunk of meat. Anything else that I particularly care about? Leek. Oh, leeks. Wait. Will he buy... How much money does he still have? He's got enough for the tooth. What about the golden brooch? Yes. Well, that's some easy shopping done. Can you dudes not block the way to my bedroom? Thank. Let's see. You can forage for food. Why spend money? You actually really can't forage for food, from what I've experienced. Oh, can these merch? No, they... Right. Well, I've got a Watchman sword I should go sell. Anything else? I'm gonna just get rid of the antitoxin. I don't think we actually really need it. Mushrooms are tasty, poisonous ones. And that is bad faith advice. Okay, so do we want to pick up a metallic staff instead of my Kamic? The problem is it does increase my skill cost. It does increase my damage by 5. It's probably worth it. What about this one? Oh, actually, the reinforced staff is just better. It doesn't have the stun chance. Or the knockback chance. But it hits harder. Yeah, so let's grab the reinforced staff. Sell that. I assume there's nobody in town that sells better mage equipment. I know there's the tailor, but unless I'm mistaken, the dude does not sell better mage equipment most of the time. Also, at this point, I might not have enough money for it. Yeah. Sexist prick. I mean, that's a damn cool looking outfit. So this seems to be more centered around ranger and like light armor equipment. Huh. He also has belts. Pretty sure most of these are not useful for me. This is cool, but probably not necessary. So where would we go? Wait. Oh, Osbrook Grand Magistrate. Is that true for everybody? Purchase a belt. None of the belts were particularly amazing, so it doesn't really seem like it's worth it. What's this guy have? Interesting shields. Sell that one to him. He does have his traveling staff, which is a little bit better, but not overwhelmingly. Do I want to go for the warbow? Yeah. I'm just going to replace a lot of my basic equipment. Admittedly, probably should have done this after, or not after, before passing out for the night. But whatever. But yeah, it's only like a 1% fumble chance change and some other stuff. That's okay. Okay, well, let's get out of here. I don't have enough money to buy any expensive mage gear, even if I wanted to. We'll keep looking around. Maybe there's some better pieces of gear that I can purchase somewhere. Do people get upset at you for looting stuff in town? Nope. You can raid the whole town, but at most, it'll net... Oh, God. At most, it'll net you maybe like a smidge of cash. Oh, I think they fixed it. Let's see. It'll only net you maybe a couple hundred gold tops. You're better off just going on an adventure. Bye-bye, bear. And back up we go. Back, bear. Well, I guess I get the EXP for that. So that's fine. Wait, did that bear just make like a sad dog noise? Because I hit it? Yeah, clump up. Just like that. So wasn't that your bow noise? I think it was the bear. I think the bear might just make wolf noises. Hey! Third level. Go back to pyromancy. So unfortunately I gotta get a pyromancy, I gotta get a pyromancy book before I can get more than that. So I'm just gonna invest in that for now. This conserves our cast for a little bit. And that keeps the fire going. Alright. So, admittedly, we just left town, but I think I'm going to immediately go back in. As that bear pelt is worth dosh. Grab that. Alright, down we go. Did you find a way of extending your casting range? Sort of. So, I think they nerfed it, but one of the bows used to give you bonus range. And I think they got rid of that, which is a bit of a travesty, because it was super handy. But I understand why they would do what they did. Alright, sort that back down. Life is better. Wallet is feeling heftier again. Do I buy some food while I'm here? Nah, I'm probably fine. Yeah, I'm gonna go buy a bit more food. Can never have enough smoked ham. Alright, let's go back out there. See, isn't there an archery passive for greater range? I believe so, yes. There's a active for a longer range shot. I don't know if there's a passive for it. I really wish passives and actives were, like they'd had different shapes. Yeah, so it looks like long-range shot is not a passive, it's an active skill. But still, it's close enough. Color-coded the borders? I mean, personally, I think I prefer it if it's like squares, diamonds, and circles. Because that level of... Because color-coding it doesn't work very well if anybody's colorblind. But by making it different shapes, very universal language that not everybody will necessarily notice. But, like, I would. Wow. I'm just eagle-eyeing it here. Like squares and passives. Yeah, because if active skills were squares, passives were circles. I mean, honestly, like, I don't think you really need more than that. Don't think I'm gonna turn around and sell the wolf pelts, just because that'll take some time. Okay. Are we good? Spells, skills, and passives? Yeah, it could work. I mean, at the same time, I don't think there's really too much of a difference between spells and skills in this game, because they use the same resources, and generally have the same outcome. It's just the question, are you casting your spells with magic or fist? Because I think that matters more in certain other games, where you're using different resource pools, or if there's like some kind of execution that changes about them. Divinity Original Sin, for example, it's kind of important to make a distinction between what's a fire spell? And what's a... Ow. Why? You dumb creature. Whatever, I'll be fine. So is the crafting system in this game yet? No. I think that'll be the one of the last things that actually gets into the game. Which is a bit of a shame, because I think the crafting system would really open some of this up. Nope. Hi, Interrupting Snake says, no nap for you, and back to napping. But yeah, I would personally adore even light crafting, so I could make some interesting things. This might be the correct place. We might have to go back down. No, this is the right place. Looks like another graveyard. Maybe? I like graveyards because that means vampires. Except for the vampire bosses, they're generally easier. Never mind. This sucks. Let's see. Inspect. What is his fire resistance? 10%. It's probably okay. Super weak to sacred and psionic. Doesn't look like it's got an electricity resistance at all. Yep. Can I hit it? Yes. And yes, I realize I'm using piercing damage on a skeleton. I don't really have too much of a choice in this regard. Probably just rest here for a bit. Okay, so the answer is this is not a vampire crypt. This is the dim vault, which looks like it has skelemancers. Goody. How tough is this sucker? Not very. Okay. Rest, get my energy back. Nothing more. Ooh. Jade. Worth it to investigate all sarcophagi, as people tend to be buried with goodens. I want to check this. Gathering the caravan. So I got to do one more. Oh. So I guess there is a little bit more content to this game than I gave it credit for. Do three contracts, then potentially progress the game. I'm fine with that. Still wish I could get some better equipment immediately, but we might have to go to a different area for that. Let's see. Golden earrings. Damn! We were just racking up the cashola. That's effective. And part of the reason why I went pyromancy route is very specifically if you hit a burning enemy with your basic spell, it extends the burn effect by 1 round per missile that hits the enemy, which more or less means I can keep them burning for an exceedingly long period of time. I wish I could push it up a little bit further than this. But I cannot. But it's one of those where, like, I'd say a solid half of my damage at this point is purely burning. Okay, how injured is he? Injured, but within reason. Yeah, so it looks like my current setup is functional against these guys. Oh, right. Must eat food. Fortunately, all I have, smoked ham. Nothing else there. Bust this up. Nothing else. Alright. A summoner build would be kind of neat in this game. I would really like to see them really expand the skills out, or just open this game up to really heavy modding. Honestly, I'd actually like to see modding implemented before the game's done. Like, I realize this would be harder for the mod makers, but it would be so much better for the players. Slay the Spire kind of had this, where you effectively... I think it was like half a year to maybe... Yeah, I think it was about half a year before the mods really started coming out. And most of them were absolutely busted. But they were so fun. Like, the Necromancer was just such a absolute power fantasy of a character in Slay the Spire. And I'd love to see that sort of thing in this game as well. You know, give me a tower defense spec that I could go for. Let me just summon weird shooty spirits like in Guild Wars 1. I absolutely loved the Ritualist in Guild Wars 1, and I am a little disappointed they never added that class back to Guild Wars 2. It kind of did with the Engineer, but it wasn't quite the same. Okay. Oh, he used Unholy Blessing. What does that do? He's kind of mucked up. He's not that mucked up. There we go. Ain't so tough now, are you? Man, those bones burn for a lot longer than I was expecting them to. Okay, what do we get? Mead, some other stuff. Alright. We're doing okay. My sanity's dropping. Pretty bad, actually. Now, I'm probably gonna have to fight this guy. Straight on. Didn't matter. Okay. I'm very glad nothing pops out of these. That would be just sadness. Things would just pop out and maul me. Okay, another boner mage. Oh, okay. I was not expecting him to come up and melee me. Oh, no. I won't set him on fire. Yeah, gotta do it, though. It'll do bonus damage. Okay, there we go. I needed just a little bit more leeway than I had there. But how am I doing? Sanity's not doing great. Stats are doing okay. I'm probably just gonna rest until I get a lot of my max HP back. Fix up my head a bit. We can buy more of these. Okay. That should be good enough. Let's see. Eat, drank. Yeah, everything around here is super dangerous. This is part of the reason why I wanted to roll Fire Mage again. Because Fire Mage is the only spec I've run into so far that can actually go toe-to-toe with things bigger than it. Because, like, I liked my melee character. She was fairly effective, but she definitely would have died, like, 2 times over at this point. Also, thank you, Grim Mooser, for the 5 gifted subs. How you doing tonight? How is life, work? Ah, damn it. Plunked the door instead. Alright, it's okay. That's a good crit. Torch the Boner Man and then rest. Get my energy back. Reminded strongly of the original Diablo game with that inventory style. Diablo 2 had the same inventory design. But yeah, I think there was a very, very intentional choice to handle it as such. And honestly, like, I actually do like the Tetris inventory. I always enjoyed that in the Diablo games, and it was a bit of a shame. I guess it still exists in Diablo 3, if I'm not mistaken. It's just, it only exists in the PC version. Uh-oh. Okay. Let's see if I can get him to stand on the trap. Hell yeah. That worked. Now, if I could do that to the boss, that would be lovely. Diablo 3 had a max of a 2-1 item size. Huh. Yeah, see, I played the Switch version, so I don't honestly even know what the maximum sizes are. Never played Diablo 2. I think Diablo 2 is probably the best of them. Diablo 1 was fun. I liked the claustrophobia that came with it. But it lacked a lot of, like, gameplay variety that 2 introduced. And environmental... it had some amount of environmental variety. It was also just slower. See, playing Diablo on console seems strange to you, so I'm used to it being a PC game. I found it to actually be quite playable. It was more comfortable, because it wasn't just, like, running around and clicking. You were actually... like, it almost felt like a brawler-type game. Necessarily mean to walk backwards like that. There we go. Luckily, this guy really sucks at getting close to me. Oh, damn it. Fire burned out. Man, I am fumbling like a champion today. Okay. That'll get him. Burn for me. Oh, and he's already dead. Hell yeah. Only worth 53 XP. That's harsh. The lower difficulties in Diablo 3 made it just kind of super easy. Well, yeah. That is... I would say that's a bit of an issue with Diablo 3. I still prefer Diablo 3's difficulty system to Diablo 2's. Because Diablo 2 is like, hey, you beat the game! Here's another difficulty that's the same, just harder, with like a little bit more. And it was like, I don't know, I always wanted just slightly more out of it. Okay, let's just let that curse go away on its own. And so, Diablo 3 just does it where you can just set the difficulty to whatever you want it to be. Which I think is actually a pretty solid system. And then there's Path of Exile, which is just kind of like, yeah, it's one difficulty, but it gets deep. And I thought that was a decent way of handling it.